Welcome to Fixing with Friends. I'm your host, that guy you know, or you don't, because this is your first time here, in which case, there is no escape. Today, we're back working on the Datsun. I'm going to walk you through the whole process of removing the fan so you can get to the vacuum water cock, taking it out, and refurbishing it if it's leaking. So hopefully this can help out anyone else who owns an S30. If not, if you don't own one, maybe you can just enjoy watching us pull the car apart because you're a crazy person. But hey, there's a video and let's get to it. Day 2 of our adventure in the heating. We're going to pull out the blower motor and the blower housing, and then we can get to the part that was leaking. That shouldn't take very long. I forgot step 3. Yay! Gently. Make my life a bit easier. Like a thermostat in there. I don't know if you can see. There. Alright, so as you can see now that we have it out, there's quite a bit of corrosion around the water cock. The actual valve looks okay. I haven't noticed any leaking from there. I'll drain the coolant, pull that out, and we'll go from there. Unless your radiator drain plug has been snapped like mine, don't use pliers when you're removing it, but I have to. But also for S30s, while you're taking it out, because it's got a little drain port, it'll spray onto the under tray as you're unscrewing it until it's like all the way open anyway. That's fun. I don't know how useful this hose is anymore. Do you see how deep that groove is? Hey, look who it is! Awesome. Hey! How are you? The actual tube, the metal part?
Oh, because the tube pokes through, I see. And then this other hose is just coming off because it's sort of in the way. I think I didn't pull the, or I didn't undo the hose clamp far enough. It was enough for it to move, but it's not enough to go over because there's probably a lip on the...
Yeah, on this one, because of how, like, I had to basically undo the whole thing, take it apart, and then slide it further back. The narrow, like, tube design.
Yeah. There we go. No problem. Hose number 1 removed.
Excellent.
And it didn't even spray coolant everywhere.
Yeah, I tried lifting the back of the car. I didn't lift the back of the car, just to be clear, but because the suspension is so saggy, you can lift up.
Bounce on it so it splashes all out.
Yeah.
So you don't really care if I can get this one off.
Why is it facing... Oh no, I know why it's facing down, because that's the only way you can access it if you don't pull the dash off.
Does that one come off?
Yeah.
Why is it weird looking?
It's upside down, so.
No, why is the hose weird looking?
Oh. I don't
I guess
know.
it ends there.
I think it's just
So,
a heat coating.
would it be easier to just take it off down here?
You mean the actual like
The hose.
valve thing?
Take the hose off down here and then pull this off with its hose on it.
Right. That was kind of my thought.
Oh.
So
Way ahead of me.
Didn't explain that. But we could also pull off the other component with it, but that seems more difficult actually now that I'm looking at it.
I may need to get the, because you've got some socket things,
Yeah, so
right? Because I may need that for the Phillips here, because I can't get a good angle on this.
Is there a shorter Phillips? No, there's not. Is it? Does it have a socket or only Phillips?
Only Phillips, but I was wondering if you could just, oh, never mind.
Yeah. I think before when I was also looking at it to see where it was leaking, I tightened that. And I believe I did it the exact same way, just with like my fingertips. Oh, good timing.
Yeah. I don't know why coolant is so gross. It's like it's smelly and it's slimy and it's wet and you can't get it off your hands.
And it's also apparently a mutagen.
Yeah, it's super bad for you. Super bad for animals, so you always gotta clean it up.
But it really doesn't make sense to use it for your heating system, because if there's a leak, it's blowing that mutagen right in your face. Oh no,
green.
I put stop leak in it.
Oh, okay. Well, that would explain it.
Apparently you can take it out just by running some water through, which is nice.
There's 2 bolts here that hold the bracket on.
Okay.
Same size. Something smallish.
10, do you think? Or smaller than that?
Smaller.
Like smaller than that? 8? When I first went in.
Damn it. So I think slight problem, but only slight problem. So the other nozzle on the right side is connected to the bracket.
Okay, so I just have to disconnect it on.
Side.
Okay, I'll do that.
You have a leak? Am I hearing water running?
It's probably the fountain, which has thrown me off like several times already today.
I like Torx, but if they ever do strip, then you're really, really toast.
Yes. I much prefer Torx to the Allen ones.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's a point to filming this. I think my elbow is just going to be in the way. I'm definitely going to replace that side with a regular hose clamp. Just because the socket is so much easier to deal with.
Yeah. Well, I like those multi-purpose ones where it's like
Yeah, those are
socket,
great.
slot, or cross.
Okay.
Sucker come out of there now.
So, back to being useless.
that's the thing. This is the culprit. So apparently, if you're attempting to remedy this without disassembling everything, you should try and tighten these nuts evenly, of course, so that the seal is got more pressure on it. Whether or not that fixes the problem, you may still have to pull it apart and replace it, but yeah, I'm glad I didn't buy a new one of these. Tiny clip. Alright, so it's day 3. We're going to try and finish getting everything back in the car, hopefully. Put the vacuum valve back in with a water cock. Hopefully we get it done today, otherwise it'll be interesting when I go to work. So, I picked up some new rubber to put on the vacuum water cock. Just a O-ring set. You can probably find a similar one at any hardware store. And I went with the O-rings just because, well, for one, I couldn't find any of the rubber washers that you could use otherwise, that it sort of had to begin with. But also because the surface is slightly flared, it does have a flat surface at the top. But if you seat an O-ring inside the narrower section, it will seal better, because it's going to be squished in as opposed to just sort of sitting on top. Doing that, then it'll go right back on, clean up the surfaces a bit more. Yeah, so in here there's a bit of film. Gonna scrape that out just right inside, and that's going to be better for the internal seal. Not that it's super important, it just stops fluid from going into your heater core when you don't want it to. Otherwise it'll be like a tiny bit warmer than you might like. That wasn't the best way to put that on. Sweet. Secure. That's something I should have made note of. Which way did this go on? Never mind. I know the answer. Just like that. Forgot to clean these up. Alright, done. Courtesy of the magic of television. Lock washers. Now, if anyone is ever wondering about putting nuts on, I mean, you'd have to be very new to this to not know. There's a rounded side and there's a flat side. Not on all of them, sometimes they're fairly uniform, but the rounded side always goes up and the flat side goes against the washer or the surface. I say always, but I'm sure there are a couple exceptions, but it's a general rule, like most of the English grammar ones, that the rules of thumb don't actually apply, like I before E, except in weird and many other things. Because that's what you wanted, a lesson in English. Stupid language. Alright, let's tighten this down. I should check the torque actually. So, it occurs to me I don't have a small torque wrench, so I'm just going to have to guess by hand. I think the torque values for a bolt like this is somewhere between 1.5 and 4.5 foot-pounds. It's not very much because I'm fairly certain it's a very low strength steel. We'll see how it goes. Alright, I guess I'm not going to find out until if this has worked until after. I can show you right now if water does or does not come out of it. I'll make a mess right on top of my toolbox. Don't know if I can because the valve is closed. Alright, now that I've gotten water all over it, the water doesn't appear to be running out of it, but I can pour it out, so at least at zero pressure, it is functional. So normally you don't want to use this style because as you tighten it down, the hose kind of wedges in between and it rips the hose apart, but it's got a cover on it, it should be okay. It's also not going to be coming on and off particularly often. I've also seen actual manufacturers use this style before, but ideally you'd have one that's solid and uses a little bit different method for ratcheting it down. Anyway, I'm not tightening these because from experience and from seeing what other people have done, I want to leave these loose so I can put them in a position that'll be easy to take off, so I don't have to take the entire unit out just to pull these hoses off. This is the valve that controls whether or not it's hot or cold air coming out. It does not appear to be leaking. There's a little bit of corrosion again from the other coolant leaking on it, but there's no corrosion right around here where it would be. I'm going to try and put this clip back on with one hand for you. Alright, success. Alright, so that's back in. So, that's how you pull out the vacuum water cock. Then, you know, replace the rubber and slip it back in. We'll see you guys next time.